Good morning and welcome to week 14. How are you guys holding up? Um, I miss seeing your faces, and I hope that you all are doing well. I will keep it short on this little presentation of Susan Glaspell. My mom is not doing very well, and I'm actually not concentrating very well today. So just a couple slides on Susan Glaspell. And then we'll do we'll either do a discussion post or a quiz on her wonderful play, Trifles. I really think that you're going to like this play. And I'm excited because it's the first time that we'll be looking at a play. We've been looking at poems, and we've been looking at novellas and short stories. And so I think some of you might really find the turn to theater and the turn to drama quite refreshing. Just by way of review, the approach in this unit asks us really to examine and to identify first and then examine what system of belief seems to be in play in the work. In other words, what ideology, what sort of worldview or paradigm seems to be presented, or perhaps more interestingly, challenged or resisted. And I really think you're going to have a fun time with Trifles and this particular approach to Glaspell's work. We want to be looking for how and where we see the author expressing his or her support or resistance of the belief system, and then evaluate how compelling, how persuasive, how effective do we really find the author's presentation of theme. So my hunch is that many of you are probably not familiar with the work of Susan Glaspell. I don't often find students who have come to class already having read or studied who she was or the contributions that she made to American drama. She was born and raised in Iowa. She began her career as a journalist, a novelist, and an author of short stories for magazines. This is interesting because really the seed story or the seed idea for Trifles is one that Glaspell first encountered as she was working as a journalist. It happened to be reported as a crime in that was reported in her area that she became familiar with and then began to do a treatment of it. Uh, Not only in Trifles, but then in a short story that is essentially the exact same piece, but it is put in short story form. It's called A Jury of Her Peers. So I don't know if you've ever come across that story in your reading, but what's going to be fun for you is first having read um, Trifles in play form, then seeing how she does it in short story form. It's very, very nice companion pieces to read. By 1915, Glaspell had turned her energies to the theater, becoming one of the founders of the Provincetown Players, a group devoted to experimental drama. And this is really the golden age of American theater, the 1920s and the 1930s. Maybe to a lesser extent the 40s, because what happens, as you may or may not recall, something happens in the 1950s that basically hamstrings American theater, and that is television, right? And so when people used to go out all the time for an evening on the town, a dinner and a show, that was, one of the highest forms of entertainment for folks. When television was introduced into the homes in the 1950s, well, that fundamentally changes. everything changes. The way people live, the way people seek entertainment, much to the detriment, I would submit to you, to American theater. In 1916, Glaspell moved with the company, now called the Playwrights Theater, to Greenwich Village in New York, where for 2 seasons, as a writer, director, and actor, she played an important role in a group that came to have a major influence on the development of American drama. Among the 40 short stories or so, some 20 plays and 10 novels, Glaspell's best works deal with the theme of the new woman, presenting a protagonist who embodies the American pioneer spirit of independence and freedom. Glaspell's subject matter includes regionalism. We've talked about that, particularly the Midwest and Iowa, and the sexual tensions between women and men, and characters always in search of life's meaning. As I mentioned, Trifles is based on an actual trial that Glaspell covered as a reporter in Des Moines. In this sense, the play was written for a Midwestern audience to dramatize the terrible life of a farm wife, isolated, dependent on her husband for her physical and emotional needs, with the occasional tragic consequences the play depicts. It was written after Glaspell had left the Midwest. That should be Glaspell, not Glassful. At least she was an optimist. After she had lived abroad, married, and moved to Provincetown, she had time to ponder and reflect on the implications of the event and really to begin to see the tragedy in larger terms. So she was able to transform a journalistic story into a universal drama, which, as I said earlier, she then changes again and transforms it into a wonderful short story, A Jury of Her Peers. I'll try to find a link for A Jury of Her Peers and place it alongside this so that you can, if you're interested, read through it. It's very short, but I think you'll like it, especially reading it right after the play. Might be nice. If we were in class, these were some of the questions that we might entertain with one another. Um, what we'll probably do is I'll probably choose one or two of these or allow you to choose one or two of these to write in a discussion board or a quiz. I haven't figured that out yet, but stay tuned and you'll see that in my announcement to you. Or by this time you've already seen it. So anyways, I hope you all are well. I hope you enjoy Susan Glaspell. I hope you enjoy Trifles. Um, Looking forward to hearing how you respond to it.